Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Wednesday evening, September 25, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems, so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at Atlantic hurricane and tropical storm activity based on data from 1944 to 2020. And we can see by the key on the left, the reds represent hurricanes and tropical storms, the yellows represent hurricanes. And we know that the peak of the season right here is around September 10, and considering that we're in the last 5 days of September, well, it's September 25 now, so I guess the last 6 days if I'm not mistaken, we're definitely falling in terms of activity, but we can have some minor peaks. Right here we see a little spike, right here we see another little spike somewhere there, which explains all of the activity that we're having with Helene and the other areas that the Hurricane Center has highlighted. Also, if we look at data from 1851 to 2023 in terms of where we've had subtropical and tropical cyclones form and their tracks in the black lines, the yellows we know represent where they formed, and this is between those years for the time period from September 21 to September 30. And considering that today is September 25, it definitely, showing and telling the tale of where we usually had systems forming during that time frame, 1851 to 2023. We see all of these yellow dots across the Eastern Pacific. We see a lot of these yellow dots across the entire Atlantic, all the way from Africa, across the main development region into the Caribbean, the Western Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico, the southwestern Atlantic as well, right there, to the north of the Bahamas, to the southeast of the United States. And we see that most of them, if not pushing westward, moving northward right there, as usual around the ridge of high pressure. And we can see the typical tracks and origins definitely matching what we just saw all the way across the main development region from Africa, if not passing the Caribbean to the north, maybe heading into the southeastern United States, or curving out to sea to the northeast, or making it into the Caribbean and then heading into, if not Central America, Mexico, or heading northward into the Gulf states. If we also take a look at the sea surface temperature anomalies, this is the update as of September 24, so this one just came out yesterday. And we know this map is highlighting how warm the waters are at the skin of the ocean. And we can definitely see the warmth as represented by the yellows, the oranges right here, especially across the main development region, the Caribbean's latitude in general, all the way from Africa into the Gulf of Mexico. Definitely warmer than average sea surface temperatures, and we can also see the tongue of below average sea surface temperatures across the central to the eastern Pacific, that we know is representing the neutral conditions, if not already La Nina like conditions. We know La Nina is the opposite of El Nino. El Nino is when we have a lot of warm sea surface temperatures in this area, lots of yellows, oranges, and reds, and all of that causes more rising air, more thunderstorms, becoming tropical depressions, tropical storms, hurricanes in general. And this in turn causes a lot of wind shear across our neck of the woods, across the Atlantic. And we know wind shear definitely tears the tops of these thunderstorms off, definitely making it hard for these systems to become tropical depressions, tropical storms, hurricanes in general. But we're having a La Nina right now, so it's the opposite. It's definitely setting the stage, shutting down the Pacific in a sense, and setting the stage for the Atlantic in terms of the activity. And although we haven't been receiving much activity for the past couple of months, August into early September. It's definitely starting to ramp up right now as we have Helene in the picture. It's definitely taking advantage of all of the warm water and the ripe conditions of the Atlantic. And keep in mind that it's not only about how warm the waters are at the surface of the ocean, but how warm they are the deeper we get into the ocean. We can see this map right here. This updated at September 24 as well. This is showing the tropical cyclone heat potential. This is basically how warm the waters are the deeper into the ocean we go. And we see that we have the warmest waters in and around Jamaica, the Cayman Islands to the east of the Yucatan Peninsula, in and around Cuba right there. Basically all of the areas that we have Hurricane Helene in and around as we speak. Definitely taking advantage of all of this warm ocean heat potential in general. So it's gonna make sense that it's gonna be rapidly intensifying right here across the southeastern Gulf of Mexico for sure, taking advantage of all of that, not only warm sea surface temperatures but even the warm ocean heat content for sure. If we take a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook, and we can see that this is as of their latest update that just came out at 7:44 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:44 p.m. Jamaica time, so almost an hour ago given the time right now, which is 7:21 p.m. First of all, we can see that we have a new area right there to the north, or the far north of the main development region, that has a 40% chance, a medium chance of development within the next 7 days. And we see the general direction for this one definitely going to be pushing eastward, maybe passing to the north, if not clipping the Azores Islands right here. We can also see that area, that tropical wave to the west of the Cabo Verde Islands, that we see still has a high chance of cyclone formation as it pushes towards the northwest. We're not going to be talking much about these systems because they're definitely fish systems if they indeed get a name. We know the next name on the list after Helene is Isaac, followed by Joyce. We'll see how that plays out. Either way, our focus right now is on Hurricane Helene. And if we go back to the infrared satellite images, just look at how huge this system is. And we can see it all the way up into the southeastern US already, touching all the way down into portions of Jamaica, definitely inducing a trough-like feature across the island. Lots more shower and thunderstorm activity still plaguing us. And all of this is definitely trying to spiral into Helene in general. Still have a lot of activity around the center. Showers and thunderstorms, windy conditions definitely plagued portions of the Yucatan Peninsula today. Sections of western Cuba definitely getting on those tropical storm conditions for sure. Even though it's a hurricane, we know the hurricane-like conditions are closer to the center. The tropical storm conditions are farther out. And we see how huge the system is, so it's definitely doing a number on portions of Cuba as well as the Yucatan Peninsula as we speak. And we saw what it did across portions of Jamaica in terms of the outer bands. Definitely storm-like conditions in some areas. Some persons wondering if we're having a freak storm, whatever the case may be. Either way, it all has to do with the outer bands of this system. And if we take a look at what's happening regarding Helene's and Helene's latest information in general, we can see that we still have a hurricane warning up for the Yucatan Peninsula right there in the red, as you can see by the key on the bottom. We see the tropical storm force winds extending far out as represented by the gold colors all the way from the Yucatan across western Cuba, definitely much of the northwestern Caribbean and the southeastern Gulf. We can also see that we still have tropical storm warnings up for western Cuba, even a hurricane watch still up as the system is right there and pushing northward, as we can see here, moving north at 12 miles per hour, packing maximum sustained winds of 85 miles per hour. So this basically means that the system is a category 1 hurricane right there, winds of 74 to 95, and it's packing winds of 85 miles per hour as we speak. So let's say a medium hurricane, not a high end category 1 hurricane, but a medium category 1 hurricane in general, not on the low end of the scale at all. And we see that it is forecast to become an M, and we know the M stands for major hurricanes, and major hurricanes are basically anywhere from category 3 to category 5, so anywhere packing maximum sustained winds of 111 miles per hour all the way up to 157. Hopefully it doesn't get all the way up to category 5 status at all. As a matter of fact, hopefully it doesn't even get all the way up to category 3 status at all, because that would definitely be a dangerous situation for the southeastern coast of the United States. If we take a look right here, we can see that they have tropical storm warnings up for the entire peninsula of Florida, hurricane warning up in the red for the Florida Panhandle, and a tropical storm warning again up for the western portion of the Panhandle right there. And these warnings and watches are gonna be extended all the way up into Georgia, Tennessee, and we see what it's gonna be doing, possibly turning left or turning west and lingering right there across the middle portion of the United States. So as stated, if you have friends or relatives in those areas, please ensure that you contact them. As stated here, we know the winds are going to be a problem, causing massive power outages, whatever the case may be. Maybe you're not going to be able to get in contact with them for a long period of time as the power companies try to get everything fixed. So before all of this happens, contact them today, communicate with them, find out what they're planning on doing. We don't want any bad news at all, because you know these systems can be, and the rainfall that is expected is definitely tremendous. We can see the greens, the yellows, the oranges. We didn't see much reds yesterday, but now we're starting to see the reds. That represents all the way up to 12 inches of rainfall for portions of Florida, all the way up into Alabama, sections of Georgia, and even portions of western North Carolina right there. Definitely some heavy rainfall expected for sure. It's definitely gonna be a bad situation. Hopefully it's nothing as drastic as what is being shown here. On another note, I need to highlight the latest update from the Climate Prediction Center. This just came out yesterday. Lots of things coming out yesterday, September 24. Quite a busy day. We can see that as of their latest update that just came out yesterday, they still have portions of the Caribbean highlighted in red and white patterns, not to mention just reds alone across the Western Caribbean and the Southern Gulf. Even portions of the main development region still highlighted. And this is for the time period from October 2 to October 8. And what they're saying, if we look at the key on the bottom left, is that there is a chance of tropical cyclone formation during that time period. Just a 20% chance in the reds and whites, and we see the area around Jamaica highlighted for sure. Haiti, Dominican Republic, Cuba as well. So it's definitely gonna be, you know, active as we head into early October. We see the reds as well, that represents the 40% chance, and that also extends into October 9 to October 15 as well. And we also see the light shades of greens that we can see right here that represent a 50% chance of above average rainfall probability. So we're definitely going to be alert or on the alert for a majority of the first half of October. Not sure what the second half is going to be looking like yet, but this right here is just a crystal ball of what's to come. Definitely going to be an active period. As we know, the CPC goes all the way out in time, and then usually the Hurricane Center follows suit. So it's gonna be interesting to see if any of this actually comes to fruition. Sometimes these actually come to fruition, sometimes they don't. We'll see exactly what happens, and I'll definitely be here to keep you posted as time goes on. If we take a look here at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we still have that ridge of high pressure across the northern portion of North Atlantic that we know is responsible for sending all of these entities across the main development region into the Caribbean all the way from east to west. We can see that we still have that tropical wave right there to the east of the Caribbean, to the northeast of South America. And we see that other tropical wave right there to the west of the Cabo Verde Islands right here. But the hurricane center has given a high chance of development as it pushes towards the northwest. We can also see, if we take a closer look, Hurricane Helene right here off the picture 2. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out Helene right here. See how huge it is. Look at that. Definitely a broad or a large system in general. All of the bands spiraling in and around the center for sure. Lots of strong wind showers and thunderstorms, and Jamaica is still getting in on that southeasterly flow all the way into Helene. A moist southeasterly flow, which explains all of the rainfall that we've been experiencing, especially on the south coast, especially today. As a matter of fact, there's been some tremendous flash flooding taking place out west or out southwest, St. Elizabeth, Manchester for sure. We can also see the clouds associated with the tropical wave right here across the eastern Caribbean. We can also see the other clouds associated with the other tropical wave that has a high chance of development right there. Alright, so we'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Wednesday, September 25, 2024. It was stated that especially southern parishes in Jamaica would have received rainfall last night into Wednesday, and especially doesn't count out northern parishes at all. They're definitely including northern parishes, and they definitely got on some of the rainfall. But most of the rainfall would have been confined to southern Jamaica, especially with that moist southeasterly flow. And by the way, we know southern Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes such as Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Thomas. And considering that the heaviest weather is across western Jamaica today, we know that western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, and Trelawney. And what ended up happening? As early as 9:25 p.m. last night, the infrared satellite images were posted right here on our Twitter page. By the way, keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, but they're also made on our Instagram page at Weather.Jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we may post throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we saw the infrared satellite images, and it showed some thunderstorms off to the south and west of the island. We didn't have much activity across the island at that point, but it was getting there. A lot of this activity started to get inland as the night progressed. I woke up at 12:25 a.m. to pee. I actually heard it raining in my area, in my parish of St. Thomas. And when I checked, we definitely had some strong thunderstorms affecting portions of southern and western Jamaica, and that was the order of the day throughout the day on Wednesday. So it started at midnight and it continued all day, which explains the flash flooding. I'm going to be showing you footage of the flash flooding shortly, but we can see the high cold cloud tops as represented by the reds, the blacks, the grays, the purples, the sparkling white dust. They represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. And it definitely lashed portions of Westmoreland for sure, Hanover, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon at that time period. I actually thought most of this would have made it eastward, maybe affecting sections of St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas as the night progressed, but that didn't happen. By the time the morning came around, majority of the activity had died down, or was still more so across southwestern portions of the island. If we take a look at the other post that was made, we highlighted the infrared satellite images this morning showing Helene. Look at the deep convection in the reds and whites. You can also see the clouds associated with the spiral banding feature, the trough-like feature heading into Helene from the southeast. But this morning, for the most part, in that time period, it was starting to clear out. But as the day progressed, we started to get on more rainfall coming into the same spots that were plagued last night. This was made at 8:25 a.m. and we saw the thunderstorms coming into portion of southwestern Jamaica, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland getting in on the action for sure at that time. And we also highlighted at 11:30 a.m. the Cuban Doppler radar images were still showing a lot of rainfall. The greens, the yellows that represent moderate to heavy rainfall for sure, lashing portions of Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James. So from 12 a.m., then another image at 4 a.m., another image at 8 a.m., another image at 11:45 a.m. What does that tell you? They've been getting rainfall all day. Definitely a bad situation. Rainfall trading over the same spot can definitely cause a lot of flooding, and even at around 4:30 p.m. we were still getting in on rainfall across especially the western half of the island in general. And we also highlighted that it was expected to spill into other parishes throughout the evening hours, and that was exactly what took place, because we definitely had some rainfall into portions of St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas as we wrapped up the day. So we definitely have confirmation, first of all, of what took place, especially across the western areas. We had here on our Twitter page, Menika Cochran, if I'm not butchering your name, stating raining in Lucy 8 hours ago. Marcel Lewis, raining here in Westmoreland. Rose Alvaranga, if I'm not butchering your name, raining here in Junction, St. Elizabeth. Mara stating St. Elizabeth is getting it. Even on our Facebook page, we had the comments coming in for sure. Latoya Anderson, raining hard and breeze. North Central Clarendon. Lorna Rickett, raining hard in St. Elizabeth. Rain falling from last night till now in St. Anne from Sylvia Bando. Fiona Dowdy stating raining hard in St. Elizabeth from morning till now. Marcia stating raining very hard in Mandeville. Gavon Thompson was raining very hard in May Pen. And we also highlighted the live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing the downpour that Crossroads in St. Andrew was having at around 5:39 p.m. And we saw the heavy rainfall. And we even have confirmation from Jay right here. Kingston 20, raining. Unfortunately, the infrared satellite images from the Weather Nerds website had glitched out from about 1:35 p.m. today. So we know 18:35 UTC is about the same as 1:35. So it glitched out today, and we saw that they were definitely getting in on some strong thunderstorms still across portions of St. Elizabeth and Manchester. That must have been something that triggered the flash flooding for sure. But we have the infrared satellite images here showing what took place all the way up to this point. Definitely a bad situation throughout the day. Just look at all of these clouds sitting on the same spots across central and western Jamaica throughout the day here. And we definitely have some more comments coming in here on our Instagram page. Nelesia Hale, I won't even try to to pronounce that one. Raining in Clarendon. Ali _issue stating it's hot in Kingston. Just to confirm that the eastern half was definitely hot. Didn't get it on much rainfall until the evening hours, just like how we just saw on the See Jamaica YouTube channel. Black _Queen Debbie stating all day in Hanover. Tiffany.Willis 38 stating raining cats and dogs in Portmore. And we can see right here heavy rain in Glengoff, St. Catherine, Blueberry, Muffin 10013, heavy rain in St. Andrew. Also have Imani _Aurora. By the way, this is one of the incidents that took place right here. Look at this. This, by the way, is from Dear Dreams Instagram page, and we can see what took place. There's a lot of this going around on social media today, highlighting the video footage showing the sparks going about on these JPS power lines for sure. That's a very dangerous situation in general. Just to indicate how the weather was definitely acting. We know it might have been triggered by, if not the rainfall, the strong winds for sure. And not only that, but we have another bout of footage right here. This is from Dotty_Junkro_official_ page, stating that we definitely had some rainfall somewhere in Jamaica. This was posted 1 hour ago. Look at all the murky water pushing by. We know the drill. Always turn around. Don't drown for sure. Wait it out. We don't want to have our vehicle stalled out. I would just go back to where I'm coming from and wait until all of this subsides. We don't need to be in a rush to be washed away at all. Always turn around, don't drown. Another region here flooded, multiple areas flooded in general, and I'm pretty sure that it was across southwestern Jamaica. If this isn't St. Elizabeth, it's Manchester. If it's not Manchester, it's Clarendon. If it's not Clarendon, it's either Hanover or Westmoreland for sure. So if you'd like to see more of this footage, you can just go over to their page to see what unfolded. I'm pretty sure there's more footage somewhere out there. If we take a look at the cam, the Bagua cam today, look at this. This was showing at 5:26 p.m. that we were definitely getting in on that rainfall for sure. Vehicles pushing by with their windshield wipers on. And by the way, this is from See Jamaica's YouTube channel. So if you'd like to see more of these, just go over to their page right now on YouTube. Subscribe. If you don't know by now, we have a partnership with this channel. They show live streams of not only Flatbridge but the corporate area, Halfway Tree, Crossroads, and they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras in and around the island. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. You can also see the heavy rainfall that was plaguing Crossroads as well. This was at 5:45. Look at the heavy rainfall. Look at the water running on the road. Persons walking with their umbrella for sure. Definitely causing some amount of traffic, and we know how congested Halfway Tree Road can be in general. So you can imagine with this rainfall how congested it was in general. Definitely a bad situation. Heavy rainfall. Hopefully most persons were, you know, already home or in a vehicle on their way home and not being affected by the rainfall at that time. And as stated, the close-up or the, well, looks like we just crashed Google Chrome. Let's see if I can get it back. Alright, here we go. Google Chrome just crashed on me. My apologies about that. Alright, here we go. So the infrared close-up satellite images have definitely glitched out at 18:35 UTC today. That was about 1:35 p.m. Jamaica time. So we have to be depending on these maps right here, and we're going to be looking at the very latest that just came out at 0:30 UTC, and that's about the same as 7:30 p.m. So we can definitely see what's happening right now. Let's zoom in some more if we can get. Alright, so we do see the high cold cloud top stretching all the way from the eastern to the western end of the island for sure. Yeah, we have the high cold cloud tops, especially across eastern Jamaica, but let's match it to what the latest Cuban Doppler radar images are showing. Let's reload this so that we have the very latest. Alright, let's see. Alright, it's still reloading. Give it a sec, but we do see that rainfall that was affecting portion of central Jamaica. Alright, so this is as of the latest that just came out at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 7:30 p.m. Jamaica time. And look at this. Right now, at least central and western Jamaica are starting to get in on a break. But look, we see that most of the rainfall has shifted now towards the southeastern portion of the island. We see some light to moderate rainfall, maybe affecting portion of Kingston, St. Catherine right there, but we see the heaviest of the rainfall right there to the southeast of St. Thomas. I definitely just had some rainfall in my area, and we can see that there's definitely more rainfall behind that. Look at the greens, look at the yellows that represent some moderate to heavy rainfall in store, and we know all of this is pushing from southeast to northwest, so we're definitely going to be getting on some more rainfall as the evening progresses in general. And if we take a look at the Guantanamo Bay Cuban military radar, we can see some rainfall right there to the south of Cuba, well, to the south of southeastern Cuba. You can also see that rainfall that we just saw on the other Cuban radar right there to the east of Jamaica. Some of this definitely making it into St. Thomas. You can also see some rainfall right there to the northwest of the Haiti Peninsula as well. If we take a look at the Cayman radar, so everything is going to have to be reloaded because of the Chrome crashing. That's a first. So we do see some rainfall, the spiral banding still associated with Helene pushing from south to north. It's kind of more in a southwesterly kind of fashion. But we can see that the Grand Cayman area definitely still getting on some light to moderate rainfall in the blues and the greens. We can also make out that rainfall to the west of Jamaica, to the west of Cuba as well. And if we take a look at the latest from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, what's happening right now across Flatbridge. So we don't see much happening, maybe just a little dew taking place. I think I can make out some of that in the water. Definitely busy Flatbridge tonight, 7:46 p.m. Not seeing much taking place at all in terms of bad weather, but they definitely had it earlier. Let's see what's happening on the latest Crossroads cam right now. Not seeing much at all. Definitely fair as we speak, but who knows, some of that rainfall from the southeast that's gonna be coming into portion of St. Thomas might make it into portions of Crossroads as well. We'll see how that goes. Don't hang your hat on it. It might just stay in St. Thomas in general. If you take a look at the temperatures right now, we can see we have 27 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on a Thursday, temperature should dip down to about 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 26 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look here at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18Z on Thursday when calculated. That's about 1 p.m. on Thursday. And we do see Jamaica right here embedded in some grays and some slight yellow colors. And we know the grays represent average temperatures. The yellows represent at least 1 degree Celsius above average temperatures. And we know the drill. We know the average temperatures for the month of September across Jamaica are about the same as 90 degrees Fahrenheit. When calculated, 90 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 32.2 degrees Celsius. So given the 1 degree Celsius above normal temperature rise tomorrow in the yellow, it should be anywhere from 32 maybe all the way up to 33 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Thursday. And we know the drill when it comes to beating the heat. Stay away from the alcohol and the caffeine or the caffeinated beverages. Stay cool, stay under a fan. Check in on others, especially the elderly when it comes to all of this heat. We don't want any heat related illnesses. Take a soak if you don't have AC, and please ensure that you eat more fruits. Always stay healthy. You'll never go wrong with watermelon, apples, grapes, and stay hydrated by drinking a lot of water for sure. If we take a look here at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Thursday, we can see that we still have majority of the basin in the clear. All of the dust associated with the Sahara Desert should be across the eastern or the northeastern portion of the main development region right there. We know we don't want any Saharan dust at all to cause any hazy skies or triggering anyone's asthma, sinusitis, or other respiratory illnesses, so it can stay out there. But with the lack of Saharan dust, we know that it's definitely setting up a ripe kind of setting in general for the Atlantic to be formulating all of these systems. But we'll definitely take the rainfall to cool down the temperatures, not necessarily cause the flooding, but the temperatures we really needed the cool down for sure. Remember how hot the first half of September was indeed. Alright, so if we take a look right here, let me see if I can reload all of these, because everything seems to have crashed out when Google Chrome crashed earlier. Alright, so here we go. So we can definitely see that for Thursday tomorrow, the highest waves associated with Helene should be across the eastern Gulf of Mexico. All of the highest waves are representing the purples, the burgundies, the oranges, all the whites into the all of that. That represents anywhere from 2 to 9 meter wave heights, or even higher than that, considering that this system is expected to be a major hurricane possibly by that time. Definitely going to be causing a lot of storm surge. We know how bad storm surge can be. The sea pushing all of that water, all courtesy of the strong winds from Hurricane Helene on land. And there's a lot of flat land in and around the United States in general. So if you live by the coast, make sure that you're taking necessary precautions, that you're not that drastically affected. And we know that the waves are going to be like that because of the strong winds associated with Helene in general. We see that both the Euro and the JFS models are in consensus. Look at the spin around the system, the anti-clockwise spin as expected when it comes to these systems. And we're expecting the yellows, that one represents 25 knot winds. The oranges all the way up to 30 knot winds, 35, 40 knot winds in the tropical storm force, all the way up to 60 knots. And then we don't even see it on the scale, but I'm pretty sure all of this that we're seeing to the east of the center is all the way up to what? Something equivalent to category 4 strength winds. I don't know how much it is in knots, but in miles per hour we're referring to anywhere from 115 miles per hour upward. Definitely a mad situation. So it makes sense that the strongest era of wind is kicking up the highest wave height across the waters of the Gulf of Mexico. You can also see the winds associated with that tropical wave right there that the Hurricane Center is watching. Definitely going to be kicking up the seas as well across the northern portion of the main region. But let's focus in on Jamaica in general for tomorrow. So we still have that southeasterly flow for sure. So who knows, we might still get in on some isolated showers. We definitely see that flow coming in from the southeast. So whatever comes off of the sea, definitely going to be bringing some isolated showers to section of some southern parishes. And then as usual during the afternoon, we have that daytime heating, the diurnal convection. Definitely going to be lashing portion of northern Jamaica if we get that daytime heating to bring rainfall. So maybe section of Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne might get in on some of the afternoon of rainfall for sure. And with the upper level winds coming in from the northeast, definitely going to be bringing more in lieu of overcast skies, especially to the south coast. If not some light rainfall when those high cold cloud tops are blown off to that direction. We'll see how that goes for sure. I'm pretty sure that the upper level winds are already there in general. Let's see if we can look back at this right here. We can definitely see the high cold cloud tops. Yes, we can see them pushing from south to north. So it looks like the storm is coming down, but it's not coming down. You just see the high cold cloud tops being blown off towards the south. But let us focus our attention on the actual precipitation forecast maps now. Alright, so here we go. Let's see if I can reload all of them because everything seems to have crushed out. Alright, here we go. So this is as of 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually 9 p.m. Jamaica time. We do see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus that the blues that represent rainfall should be across southern and southeastern parishes. And we're already getting in on some of that across southeastern Jamaica as the latest Cuban Doppler radar images showing that rainfall. And well, that's as of 9 p.m. tonight. The time is what? 7:53 p.m. And we can see the rainfall coming into portion of southeastern or eastern parishes. Let's skip ahead now to about 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 12 a.m. Jamaica time. By the way, let me just repeat that we need to take these forecasts with a grain of salt. They're forecasting rainfall, but we might not get rainfall, or we might get a lot of rainfall and then wake up in the morning to a lot of clouds and sunshine. We have to take these forecasts with a grain of salt. But right now, they're in consensus with the early morning rainfall or the midnight rainfall. The Euro right here showing a lot of blues in some dark shades and greens in there. Represent some rainfall across to especially southern Jamaica. GFS showing something similar. Skipping ahead now to about 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 4 a.m. Jamaica time. We still see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with that rainfall across southern and eastern parishes for sure. Skipping ahead to about 10 a.m. tomorrow, which is actually 9 a.m. on Thursday, we still see some dots of blues here and there on the euro, not as widespread as what we were receiving. We also see it across the GFS, especially to the west of us. We'll see how that goes. By about 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 1 p.m. Jamaica time, GFS still a bit more robust with the rainfall, especially across southern and western Jamaica, even to the north of the island, getting on some amount of rainfall. You're showing some dots of blues across central and western Jamaica. We'll see how that goes. Take these forecasts with a grain of salt. It might just be a cloudy day, it might just be a sunny day. Either way, this is what the models are showing. And let's see if the consensus actually is certain about what's going to be unfolding. GFS still showing some amount of rainfall in and around the island for 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time. Euro starting to wrap up on the rainfall in general, more whites than anything else, but we still have some dots of blues across southern and northwestern areas. Either way, both accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in consensus with where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Thursday. And we still see the consensus that the most in lieu of rainfall, or where most of the rainfall should be accumulated, should be across southern and eastern parishes, maybe some western parishes as well. We see the greens, we see the yellows, the oranges, even the reds. They represent all the way up to 1 inch, if not close to 1 inch of rainfall for sure by the key on the red. And we'll definitely take it, especially here on the south coast, where it's been so hot for a majority of September in general. We know in Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive close to 7 inches of rainfall. That's almost 175 millimeters of rainfall. In Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive 100 millimeters or close to 100 millimeters. That's almost 4 inches of rainfall. By the way, keep in mind that if you'd like to know what your specific parish receives throughout the year, you can visit weatherandclimate.com, and you can use this little graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. Let's see if this image is going to load and highlight the visible satellite images for us. Doesn't seem like it. Alright, here we go. Alright, so as stated, in terms of the rest of the Caribbean, as stated, we know Helene definitely doing a number on the central to the western portion of the basin. The eastern Caribbean definitely getting plagued by a tropical wave as we speak. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, we can definitely make out some hit or miss isolated showers in the green, some yellows within that. Across the waters to the northwest of Antigua and Barbuda, we can also see some rainfall to the south of Puerto Rico. And if we put these images into motion, we can definitely see what took place today. Definitely western Puerto Rico got lashed during the afternoon with their diurnal convection. We can also see on the Barbados radar lots of the rainfall associated with the tropical wave. Passing to the north, we see more of an east-southeasterly flow with that batch of rain. We also see some rain bands coming in from the east, so some of that could definitely make it into Barbados tonight. We can see a tongue of moisture coming into portions of St. Lucia as we speak. Section of Martinique was definitely getting on some of the rainfall. We can also see some rainfall right there across portion of Dominica. Not seeing much right here across St. Vincent, but definitely Grenadine Islands getting on some isolated showers, and even portions of Grenada getting on some of that too. If we scroll down, we can also see some rainfall to the east of Trinidad. Not seeing much right now across Tobago, maybe some isolated showers, but that's just about it. If we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can make out the rain bands associated with Helene definitely moving quickly and heading into Key West, Florida, all the way up into Florida in general. Definitely some heavy rainfall coming in from south to north, spinning around that center. You can also see, if we look closely, we can definitely see the rotation associated with these rain bands coming in like this. Definitely a bad situation in general. Definitely some strong winds, heavy rainfall across the Yucatan as we speak. Northern Belize too getting in on the action. We can even see that flow across section of Honduras. We can also see the isolated showers that we mentioned across the Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic area. section of the Eastern Caribbean. We can also see some rainfall right here across northwestern Venezuela and sections of Colombia too. If we take a look at what's expected within the next 24 hours though, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Thursday, and we see all the rainfall that showing the most in the way of rainfall. If not portions of Central America, we see some dots of purples, the waters of the Gulf of Mexico, if not the Yucatan Peninsula or Western Cuba. That's where we see the purples, that's where we see the pinks. That represents the 3 inches all the way up to 4, maybe 6 inches of rainfall. But that's mainly out to sea. That's for the fishes or for the boats out there. If there are any boats out there, could never be. You can see some rainfall in store as represented by the greens, the yellows, the oranges, the reds. That represents all the way from 0.2 of an inch all the way up to 1 inch of rainfall for portions of Florida, the Bahamas, section of Cuba, the Cayman Islands still going to be getting some more rainfall, southern Jamaica, sections of Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the Leeward Islands in general. So anywhere from the US and British Virgin Islands eastward, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, sections of Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, sections of Guyana, sections of Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula in general. We see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.